we're going to be able to fix all the problems that you have in the whole wide world. Just kidding. There are 3 that we are going to focus on today. We are going to focus on the time thing, the lead thing, and the conversion thing. So if any of those seem like they would be valuable to you, please let us know in the chat, yes or no. No, and I'll just have to make up something on the fly. So let me know, put it in the chat, Y or N. This is valuable to you, either fixing the time thing, fixing the lead thing, or the conversion thing. All right. Well, man, you are in luck. Well, if Jamie and Morgan tell me I'm allowed to proceed, I'm actually going to share some slides. This is, for anybody that knows me, this is a rarity to say the least. I am not a slide. Look, man, you can see my text messages over here. Look at this. You can see everything. Okay. This is slides. Look at that. Magic. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. If I were your business coach, and guess what? Today I am. So how about that? All right. No shortage of potential problems to fix when it comes to owning and operating a fitness business. So let's work on 3 of the most common ones. In fact, I would tell you the 3 most common ones. The first is time. And if you can't get control of your time, the odds of you getting control of much else are slim to none. Because let's face it, as a business owner, you don't have somebody else giving you the quotas to meet. You don't have somebody else giving you, the appointments to navigate through. You're not given a schedule. You're not given the things that have to happen during these specific containers of time, as my wife would like to call them. You have to figure it out yourself. You have to take personal responsibility, and sometimes that can be tough. So the first thing that we do is we establish our targets, our 6-week game plan. Now, I prefer 6 weeks over things like, quarterly or 90-day cycles, and I've done them all. And if it works for you, if the 12-week year works for you, if the 90-day year works for you, all these other programs, great. I prefer 6 weeks because, frankly, especially coming out of the pandemic, I didn't feel super confident in my ability to forecast things that far down the road. I wanted to be able to look at something and say, I have some real confidence in what my availability or capacity is going to look like over the next 6 weeks, what market trends are going to look like over the next 6 weeks, what I've already committed myself to over the next 6 weeks. So that's why we choose 6-week game plans. Now, in my opinion, we need to set out our targets. That's why they're at the top here, right? Target monthly revenue, the target number of leads, the target number of conversations, conversion opportunities, new clients, all that stuff. We need to know where we're going. And if you don't know what those numbers look like, then it's going to be really hard to consistently see progress. So, we want to be able to say, hey, you know what? Right now, I've got 50 clients. By the end of the next 6 weeks, I'd like to have 60 clients. So I know I've got this gap to bridge of 10 new people. Then it becomes much simpler to reverse engineer how we're going to get there. It sounds simple, but make no mistake, very few people do it. Most people wake up and just kind of sustain what they have. So 6-week game plan, we identify the targets, these metrics that we want to pursue. And then we identify business and personal goals. Now, I'm very much an advocate of doing both and doing both at the same time, because as a small business owner, anything that you're thinking about business-wise is going to impact you personally. Anything going on in your personal life is going to impact you from a business standpoint. So if you are not sensitive to the way that both of these things have to work in harmony together, you're going to set yourself up to fail. So identify the goals. Goals should be realistic. They should be motivating. They should be this wonderful kind of balance. Should be something that inspires you to work towards it, but not so unrealistic or outlandish that you feel like 3 days in, you've fallen off track and there's no hope of getting back on pace. So we do goals that we feel like we can accomplish in the next 6 weeks that are going to move us towards where we want to go. Then we break them down. We look at action steps, things that we're going to be able to do that get us into motion. Ideally, we need to have at least 3 action steps. Now, don't overthink the action steps. Don't try to make them perfect, because if you do, you're going to get stuck. Let's face it, most of our goals are things that we've not yet done. Sometimes we have goals that we're trying to get back to, so we know how to get there. But other times we have goals that are a little bit beyond where we've already been. So anything that we're talking about an action step is a little bit of a hypothesis. We're thinking, yeah, this will probably help, but we don't know. Totally fine. You need some things to move on, to get in motion. And then we always finish with what we're going to do in the next 72 hours, because motion creates momentum. And if you don't start doing stuff, then this is just going to sit on a wall. It's going to be a vision board. It's going to be a goal that gets thrown in a drawer. It's not going to be acted on. So 6-week game plan. That's where we start. 3 personal, 3 professional at most. We got to know where we're trying to go. Now we get into win the week. So we break down the 6-week stuff and we look at this and we say, well, what do we need to do this week to make progress towards where we want to go? Well, if we needed that 10 clients, then we need to say, well, that means I probably need to average about 2 clients a week over the next 6 weeks, especially factoring in the attrition that always kind of exists in any small business. So we could probably safely assume that if we get 12, we're probably going to be up net 10. So let's say we need 2 a week. Well, how many leads do we need? How many people need to have the opportunity to come into a consultation? How many people need to be in a trial or front-end offer? An easy way to do this, if you're not sure, is just double the number of clients you have or you're trying to get, and that's how many people you need to sit down with and demonstrate through a conversion opportunity in the next week. You do that, and you should probably be A-okay, right? Now, there are going to be exceptions, clearly, but on average, if you need 2 new clients, you need to be able to demonstrate how you can help with at least 4 new people, okay? So if we know our number, now we've got to be able to look at the week ahead and say, well, what am I going to do Monday to move towards that? What am I going to do Tuesday? Now, you don't have to do the same amount of stuff or in in all of these 4 categories every day, but you need to be able to look up at the end of the week and say, you know what, I'm working Monday through Friday and half a day on Saturday. And based on what I've put in this calendar, I have a high probability of being able to reach those targets that I've set out and said are important to me to achieve this week. So what are we going to do to connect with new people? What are we going to do to convert them to paying clients? 10-minute sprint in our world is basically that wonderful little window of time that if you feel like, hey, my plate is full, I don't have the bandwidth to go to a networking event or to go create this new landing page or send out these emails or whatever else, we can all probably squeeze in 10 minutes. And if you're watching this is longer than 10 minutes. So I'm guessing that is true. You can reach out to people. You can say, you know what, I'm going to text all these unconverted leads, or I'm going to reach out to my connection database, or I'm going to reach out to 5 of my existing clients and ask them for referrals. But we set aside 10 minutes, so we're always in forward motion. And then upgrades in our world are fun things like, asking clients if they want to renew, prepay, upgrade their program. We want to make offers for cross sales. We want to ask for reviews. We want to ask for referrals. So all that fun stuff, but we will get into that in a bit. That comes a little bit later in what we're covering today. All right. So Maybe on Monday, you've got time to queue up your 3-time-a-week emails and they go in the convert section. And maybe that and a 10-minute sprint's all you have the capacity for. Tuesday, maybe you're going to go to a networking event and that goes in your connect bucket there. And you're going to ask all your clients to get on your Google page and give you a review. Like, basically, we want to slot stuff in to know when we have these available containers of time, how we're going to specifically use it to reach our goals. Because there are certain things that we have already committed to each and every day, each and every week. And that could be training sessions with clients. It could be program design. It could be picking kids up at school. It could be taking kids to baseball practice later today, like it is for me. And those are things that you are already committed to. So we have to be a realist. Those times are taken. If all you have left today is an hour, don't say, I don't have enough time. Figure out how to use that time to the best of your ability to reach your goals. Now, at the end of the week, we review. We put in our weekly actuals. Hey, did we hit our targets? Did we exceed them? Did we fall a little bit short? It is what it is. It's 1 week. It's 1 out of 52 over the course of the year, but we need to know because we want to use that information. We want to celebrate the wins. And most weeks there are wins, but most weeks we don't celebrate wins as business owners. We have to change that. Then we need to look at what worked. We need to say, okay, you know what? The stuff I did for follow-up, the convert stuff, it worked great. I didn't generate enough leads, so I need to figure out how to do better with that next week maybe. And that's the learn stuff. The learn is, hey, what are we going to do better? We're in constant motion. We're in constant evolution. Business is about like this wonderful balance between consistency and adaptability. So yeah, you have to stay the course if you want the compound benefit of a lot of the work that we do, sending the 3-time-a-week emails, the reaching out to connections, the building the audience, all that stuff. It's just like fitness. One workout is not going to transform your body, right? One day of eating healthy is not going to change the way you look dramatically. But if you do it over time, it compounds. So we got to have the consistency, but then we also have to be adaptable and understand that, hey, you know what? Maybe something I tried wasn't a great fit for me and my business. Then I've got to be able to move. I've got to be able to shift and find something that works better. So that's winning the week. Now we break it all the way down for what are we going to do to win the day? First thing, what are the 3 things, my priorities? What are the 3 wins for the day? So if we accomplish these, we have knocked today out of the park. Okay. And that needs to be based on what we're already obligated to, because you see down on the left, we've got our daily schedule. If you say, okay, you know what, I'm training people at 6, I'm training people at 7, I'm training people at 9, I'm at 10, I'm busy at noon, I have something else at 5, 6, and 7. Maybe you don't have tons of time to do these big, hey, I'm going to redesign a complete funnel, I'm going to learn Facebook ads and deploy ads. But what can you do today? What would be a win? If you accomplished something today, what's a win? And so every day we need to have, what are the 3 wins we need to make today a success based on the reality of the time we have available, the capacity that is available to us. Because this idea that, you know, we operate in a vacuum and our goals just kind of exist over here and don't have to kind of dovetail with our personal life, with our full schedules that we're already responsible for, setting you up to fail. So you got to know what are those 3 wins for today and know that if we stack those up, basically, you know, even 200 days a year, not even 300, 350, 365, 200 days of some wins accrued and compounded over time, and you have a powerhouse business. All right. So after we get past the priorities, those are the us stuff, right? Then we get to the additional tasks. Those are the stuff usually everybody else is asking us to do. So you have to be able to delineate between the two. We've got obligations to meet where we are, to fulfill the responsibilities we're already committed to. We've got our priorities, and then we have the additional stuff. You know, all too often, people put that additional stuff ahead of their 3 wins for the day, and they wonder why they don't make any progress. Now, the right side of this is kind of the recap stuff. How many new leads did we get? Who did we follow up with? Any notes? What was our personal win of the day? What was our professional win of the day? And then down at the bottom, again, it's like, did I get it done? Do I need to move it to tomorrow? Did I cancel something? Did I outsource or delegate it? And then did I do my 10-minute sprint? This is how we own our day and win our day. Now, if this feels like a lot to you, I'm going to guess that other people are running your day and you are not. And that's okay. That's why we're doing this. In fact, if you would like a copy of this, if you would like a copy of the Win the Week, if you'd like a copy of our 6-week plan, put slides in the chat and we'll make sure we get you a copy of all of these. All right, put slides in the chat. You can do it in Zoom, you can do it in Facebook, and we will make sure you are taken care of. All right, so we've got the time issue. I need to ask if you, let's see, we've got a couple of people who said slides here. Is the time thing an issue for you? Yes or no? Do you feel like you need more time? You don't use your time wisely? You just don't have enough time? If so, put time, well, just put yes if it's an issue for you, because it's an issue for a lot of people. And man, there are some simple fixes, but basically exactly what Ryan said. Yes, need to plan more consistently. And if you're not planning, there's not a lot of fixing to be done, right? Planning cures so much of this stuff if you're willing to do it. And so grab the slides, put slides in the chat. These tools have helped. Iterations of these tools have been helping me since probably before people like Jamie and Morgan were born. So yeah, that's it. It is so important. Now, fixing your lead generation issue. So many people in our industry say, I need more leads. That's the bottleneck. That's the thing holding me back. So basically, we need to know how many leads we actually need to have first and foremost, right? So if you have a one-on-one, semi-private business, realistically, if you go generate 5 to 10 leads a week, you're probably okay. If you have a small group business, if we're looking 10 to 20, that's probably about right. If you're a large group business, you probably need to be above 20 leads per week to keep the pipeline full for a healthy, robust, successful business. And, here are the ways that I kind of look at this. Tier 1 tactics, Tier 2 tactics. Tier 1 tactics, connection database outreach is number one. And anybody who's been a client of mine or around me for any period of time has heard me talk about networking. I used to call it a network database with our franchisees back when I founded a couple franchises. And this was the lifeblood of franchise training. And I watched people go from 0 to 50 clients in 90 days. Just month after month, we would see new people come through the pipeline and do that all based on their connection database or their master networking database, whatever we called it then. But for me, connection database, probably the word connect really kind of rang true with me because it is an action word. Like I need to connect with somebody. I need to go proactively connect with people. If you are not reaching out to the people in your life, whether they're on your cell phone, whether they're social media contacts, whether they're neighbors, whether they're people who are parents of kids who are on your child's sports team or in their class or whatever else, you're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. These people already know you. Hopefully they already like you. And if they don't, then maybe you should fix that or something. And those are the easy people to start with. We don't need to go to cold traffic. Cold traffic always converts at a lower rate than warm traffic. People that know you are warm traffic. So start with connection database outreach. do simple things to invite them to either experience what you do or at least join your email newsletter or free Facebook group so you can follow up with them in a leveraged way. Second, running ads. Super simple, right? There are all these social media platforms available to us. Run paid traffic. If you have the budget for it, run paid traffic, because that's almost like this little robot employee working for you 24 hours a day to put your stuff in front of other people, right? And you get to choose who those people are. So it's a pretty cool little robot. And then the ad to a partner audience with a lead magnet. Now, a partner audience could be a strategic alliance partner. It could be some other, like, a different media outlet. There are plenty of local media outlets that you could run ads to. But basically, what we're trying to do, all of these ads are going to lead magnets because we want control over our ability to follow up with people. So many people try to sell on that first commercial that they're putting in front of somebody, even though it's an interruption in those people's lives. They weren't expecting it. They're not looking for it. So our job is to get those people into our ecosystem so we can follow up with them. So we have control over that. And maybe most importantly, so we don't have to pay to reach them again. Because every time you run an ad, they click, it costs you money. But if we get them to opt in, it doesn't cost us money, or at least fractions of pennies, to send them emails or follow up in that way. All right, attending a networking event and collecting contact information. Again, face-to-face, belly-to-belly type of stuff is always the most direct route to building relationships. All too often, we miss out on the opportunity to just talk with somebody and accelerate the growth of that relationship. You can make so much more progress in 10 minutes of a chat with somebody at a networking event or in an informal setting than through a year of email. And I send a lot of email, and I will still tell you 10 minutes with somebody spent face-to-face would be more valuable to me than 12 months of email sent to their inbox. And then public speaking, which is essentially leveraged networking, right? You get to be positioned as the authority. You get to reach a lot of people at once. And so you get a lot of that kind of in-person connection. You get the authority. You get to demonstrate your expertise, but you get to do it in a very leveraged way. So that's tier one. We should be doing that stuff. And if you don't have the budget to do the stuff in the middle, focus on the first one and the last two. Tier two, ask your clients to share lead magnets on social. Organically share lead magnets on social. Get people who are friends that have audiences, whether they're small business owners or people who are influencers for social or affinity groups, PTAs or sports teams or Cub Scouts or church groups or whatever else. Ask people if they'll share stuff to just help you out. Plenty of people will. And yes, it's a favor. Cool. Do something nice for them in exchange, right? Don't let asking other people to support you slow you down. Find ways to reciprocate and make this a win for them too. Podcast, guest post, YouTube, all these things. Just basically, it's finding outlets to get a lead magnet out there so people can get into your ecosystem, learn about you, and you control the follow-up. Same thing, Facebook group guest posts, all that fun stuff. And then local advertising, which is truly one of my favorite things and certainly one of the most undervalued things going. In my neighborhood right now, we had some pretty big storms last week. And so there are all these signs posted throughout my neighborhood from roofing companies for all the roof damage and everything else. And guess what? Roof companies are making a killing right now. And that's the advertising people are seeing. I'm not seeing any Facebook ads from roofing companies. I'm not seeing any Instagram ads or, YouTube ads. I'm doubting that too many of the roofers are on TikTok doing stuff. But man, there are yard signs everywhere. So if you want to be in front of your target market, it's not confusing, not challenging. You know who these people are. You know stuff about them. Maybe where they are online, where they are offline. Be where they are and be interested in them. Be visible to them. Do that, you're going to be in great shape. So start with the tier 1 tactics. If you don't have the budget for the paid stuff, again, start with the first one, the last two. Do not skip over connection database stuff to go just posting on social with a lead magnet. We're in a social business. It's coaching, right? It is a probably as social business as there is, because most service providers, if you're seeing them like 3 days a week, you need a new service provider, right? If I'm seeing a plumber 3 days a week, I need a better plumber. If I'm seeing somebody who's cutting my hair 3 days a week, I probably don't have any hair left. So I need to be comfortable with this social, this connection piece of the puzzle. So that is the first part of lead stuff. The internal lead stuff, and this is another one that people miss out on, is really super simple. If you have an existing business, and I know a lot of you folks do, if you have an existing business, step one, every new client, give them a gift card or give them the opportunity to invite a guest in on day one. Point of sale, have them invite somebody to come with them during their first training session with you, or give them a gift card. And then if they don't give it, somebody else 2 to 3 weeks later, follow up and say, hey, who did you give that to kind of plant the seed again. So that's number one. Every new person is given the opportunity to bring somebody else. And so that multiplies their impact at a time when they're super excited, but would probably like to bring somebody else with them to be a little bit more comfortable as they get started. And then step 2, 12-week client multiplier system. Weeks 1 and 2, we cycle through. We go through this 2 or 3. Maybe you could do it 4 times a year. I don't know that you necessarily do, but at least 2 to 3 times a year. Weeks 1 and 2, reach out to every individual client and see if they'd like to invite a guest. Pretty simple, right? Just, hey, is there somebody you'd like to bring as a guest this week? If you've got a one-on-one business, then maybe they bring a guest for a session or 2. If you've got a group-based business, then maybe they can bring a guest for a week or 2. All right, so that's weeks 1 and 2. You could do it all at once, and you could just go through everybody one by one on day 1, or you can spread it out over the course of 2 weeks. But what we're trying to do is create some spacing so you're not asking the same person, hey, do this for me today, do this for me tomorrow. So we're trying to just create a little bit of spacing. All right, weeks 3 and 4, we go to every client over the course of weeks 3 and 4, so over 14 days, and we're going to say, hey, would you mind giving me a review on our preferred platform, whether that's Google or Facebook or whatever else? I would encourage you to start with Google. Now, if somebody's already given you a review on Google, we can go to a secondary platform. Weeks 5 and 6, we're going to coach the people that we work with on how to notice conversations and connect us, introduce us to the other people in their lives. Because like right now, as we're going through this training, I mean, it's March. We're going to have people thinking about spring break. We're going to have people thinking about summer vacation. So we teach our clients, hey, if you hear people saying they want to get ready for spring break or for vacation, do me a favor and introduce me to that person. Just shoot me a text and I'll be happy to send them blank, right? So now you get to make your client feel kind of like they're a little bit of a big shot, right? Like, hey, I can just text my person and they'll send this thing to you. You know, I've got that kind of swagger. I've got that kind of influence that my coach is kind of on call and be happy to help you out and take care of you. All right, weeks 7 and 8, we distribute gift cards to all of our clients and we tell them hey, do you have somebody in your life that you think would enjoy this? You could also say this gift card is good for this upcoming challenge we have going on or upcoming program or something like that. Weeks 9 and 10, we just make a post of a lead magnet or some other piece of content that we think has a lot of value. Ask our clients to share it on social media. Weeks 11 and 12, we do what we call ask for advice. Ask for advice is basically just connecting with somebody and saying, hey, Morgan, you know what? You are an absolutely awesome client for us. I would love to get your advice on something. We're trying to connect with a few more people that are really a lot like you. They're people that come in, they have good energy, they support everybody else in our community. Obviously, they love being here and they get results. I would love to get your advice on how we might be able to connect with more people like you, where we might be able to find them, what they'd be interested in. Notice I didn't say, who can you introduce me to? Because we already do that. We already have that. So this is a different way to do this, where we're saying, I would love your insight, your expertise. And then step 3, we just do periodic events throughout the course of the year, whether it's a partner, bring a friend challenge, a bring a buddy week, a charity event, but it's something that we're promoting internally, internal signage, internal emails, broadcast stuff, make it a big deal, make it an event. All right. So those are the things that we need to have in place from a lead generation standpoint. Now, any one of these, you may say, yeah, I already do that. But my guess is if we look at the last worksheet and this worksheet, you're not doing all of them. So where are some gaps that we can go to improve the results that we're getting? And again, if you jumped on late, if you would like the slides, if you'd like all these worksheets that are on the slides, just put slides in the chat and we'll make sure to give you a copy. All right. Fixing your follow-up and conversion issues. Now, everybody tells me what they need leads. In fact, I'm going to ask, like, Jamie and Morgan kind of run things in our Facebook group. Is it fair to say that at least 2/3 of the people, when we ask them what do they need help with or what do they need most, the answer is leads?
100%.
Yeah. So here's the trick. They're probably not accurate if we get under the hood in their business. Now, every business is different, so individually, people may be accurate, but I'm going to tell you that after doing this for almost 20 years, people don't do nearly as well with the leads they have as they usually could. And so if that is you, if that's something that maybe is happening in your world, maybe you've had some people on an email list or in a Facebook group, or they're part of your connection database, and you're not quite getting enough of them to become clients, then let's dig into how we can follow up and convert better. So the first thing that I would tell you is your onboarding stuff is essentially like your welcome mat, right? We need to make this wonderful, welcoming environment for somebody. We need to send them a welcome email that is more about them than it is about you. They need to know they're in the right place to help them achieve their goals and solve their problems. Sure, you can talk about you, but only through the lens of how it's valuable and important to them. This is not your resume. This is not your LinkedIn profile. This is, hey, this is what's in it for you. I am so glad you're here. Here's how we can help. Then the next thing that we want to do is engage people in some sort of interactive setting, because we want to move somebody from this one-way conversation where it's, hey, you opted in, now you're just getting stuff from me, to let's have a conversation. I want to know more about you. I'm interested in you. So we want to find ways that we can get them to connect with us and get in a two-way dialogue, right? In this interactive setting where we can learn more about who they are, what's important to them, where they are, and kind of which stage of the journey. Now, this can be super simple. This could be, hey, thanks for downloading, my healthy nutrition guide. Are you already eating healthy, or are you just looking at getting started? Right? So now I've given them multiple choice. It's not a hard question to answer, but they're engaged. They're in a conversation with me. I'm a real person. I'm not just some robot on the internet, right? Plus, it's going to help your email deliverability, because Google sees that, hey, wait a minute, this person was interested enough that there's a conversation. Now, after that, we have what I call hot button emails, where basically we're talking about the three, and you notice like hot button 1, 2, 3. We're talking about the three things individually that seem to be the most common hot buttons, either things that are important to your prospects, either the things they're trying to solve or the things that they consider obstacles or the desires they're trying to reach. We want to talk about those things. We want to say, hey, I understand you. This is, this is a problem. This is how we solve it. Now, it could be social proof of how you solved it for somebody. It could be tactical. This is how you solve it. Or, it could just be a story of your own experience with that thing, right? It doesn't really matter. We just need to make sure they know, again, they're in the right place and we can serve as that bridge from where they are to where they want to be. Then we're going to make an offer. That's what the engagement thing is here. The next step, we're going to make an offer and we're going to say, hey, I'm getting ready to take on a couple new clients for this program or to achieve this result. Would you be interested in discussing to see if it's a fit or something like that? Then we go back, we do one more hot button email, and then there's a simple 3-day promotion for whatever your kind of evergreen offer is. Give them some reason to buy now, a discount, a bonus, something. That's onboarding, and that's super simple and choreographed. Now, can we make it better? Sure, we can do a lot of things to make it better, but unless you have something, doesn't have to follow this outline exactly, but if you don't have some on-ramp to an experience with you that puts your greatest hits out in front and invites people to connect with you, fix that before you figure out, well, how do I integrate Messenger and how do I do text and how do I do all the stuff? Build this out. Then, in my opinion, go to text next, and then move to Facebook and figure out how you can build a follow-up there as well. But we have to really kind of treasure the relationships that we do get to start, because the more you start to value these connections, these relationships you're trying to build, the more work you put into building it and nurturing it, the better your business will become. All too often, people let these things kind of die on the vine, or they make an offer and they say, well, that person was a tire kicker because they didn't buy today, knowing that that's not at all how people buy. So if we think about the experience we want somebody to have, once they came into contact with us, we want them to know if they're interested. We want to demonstrate that, yeah, you're in the right place. And whenever you're ready, we're definitely the right people to help. If you're closer to ready, cool, here's how we can do this together. And here's a little bit of social proof for people who've already done it, so you can kind of see yourself being successful too. All right, so that's onboarding. Now, the weekly conversion game plan. Super, super straightforward. But again, the number of people that don't do awesome with this is staggering. But what's great is it's low-hanging fruit. It's not tough. It's seeing that your job involves this. People ask me, well, how have you sent a daily email for like 18 years without missing a day? Like, because it's kind of my job, right? Like, I mean, it's what I don't skip training sessions just like I don't skip the email. It's just, this is the obligation that I've made. And if you start to embrace follow-up as your job, you're going to be so, so happy that you did. Now, the email system is pretty simple. 2 to 3 emails per week. If you think that's a lot, understand that every person in the United States gets on average over 150 emails a day. So you are not bothering people. You are not flooding their inbox. In fact, you are a tiny little fraction of their inbox. So we need to be seen often enough to be relevant. And this is our opportunity to be in front of them, just like some people pay for Class A real estate. So they're on somebody's drive to work each day. They look over and they see that business. Or people pay for radio spots during drive time. This is our commercial. This is our opportunity to be in front of somebody. So there's all sorts of awareness. 2 to 3 emails per week with a super signature. The super signature is the PS. We'll get to that in a minute. Write to one person. I think of my email stuff, and I do a lot of email, as I write to one person that's part of my email community. But because the emails I send out go out to a lot of people, it's one person many times over. But I understand that if you're reading it, just like you guys watching this, I can see multiple people on my screen, but each of you are in the room by yourself, getting your own experience here, whether it's awesome for you or I'm stinking it up. This is me to you, right? And it needs to be just long enough to deliver something valuable, but short enough not to be boring. So 200 to 400 words is a kind of a sweet spot in there. And then add that PS, and you'll see this at the bottom of most of my emails whenever you're ready. And then I'll have 2, 3, 4 offers. One of them should be super low risk. All too often I see people make mistakes and they say, well, I make these offers and they're kind of all the same thing. It's all come into my gym, even though that's super intimidating for a lot of people or whatever else. Maybe it's join my free Facebook group. Maybe it's reply back and I'll send you this other free gift. Just something to get them to take one more step in this relationship with you. Have something low risk. And then every couple of weeks, invite people to participate in some sort of program. And then every 6 weeks, have a deadline-driven offer. Deadline-driven means there's an enrollment closing, there's a bonus added, or there's a discount. Have some sort of incentive to get people off the fence. That's the email system. The Facebook group system. You see what we do, right? Super simple. On Wednesdays, pretty much most every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, it's me or somebody way smarter than me on here talking to you about something that hopefully helps you build your business, show you why you can succeed, give you some evidence that, hey, this person's done it, you can do it too. Answer questions, give people opportunities to learn stuff that moves them forward. It's a demonstration of how we can help, in hopes of maybe being able to work more individually with people so that we can actually help in that one-to-one way. So that's what we do. And then we kind of build around that. And then how do we upgrade the follow-up even more? Well, we can use text or chat and we try to start conversations, right? Simple questions, engage people in a dialogue. And then if they want help, we'd love to give it to them. So again, I know I've covered a bunch of stuff in a relatively short period of time. If you would like the slides, the worksheets, all that fun stuff, be sure to put slides in the chat, slides in, under the video on Facebook, whatever works. And then finally, if you are somebody who's had trouble asking for money, if that is not a comfortable thing for you, I have sold stuff for a long, long time. I've coached, if not most of the successful fitness business owners in this industry, definitely as many or more than anybody else. And selling is way simpler than we make it, because selling is this transition from somebody being a prospect to a client. So we're saying, hey, you know what? We're going to partner together to help you reach your goals. I don't like the word closing a sale, because it kind of implies that we're closing the door on something. For me, this is just the evolution of a relationship. We're agreeing that we're the right people to partner together to get you where you're trying to go. So the first thing we need to know is where they're trying to go. So we ask them, what do you want? Hey, when it comes to improving your health, what would be a dream come true result over the next 12 months? Ask them, get them to tell you. If they give you short answers, because this isn't necessarily a question that they get commonly, then we just try to find other ways to elicit a response. We want them to talk about what they want. Then, what has to change? Awesome. You know what? What do you feel like has to change or happen for you to get there? Notice, what do you feel like? I'm not telling you what has to happen or change, because if you don't believe it, then we can't really go any further. If you don't think something different has to happen, there's no reason for us to work together. Now, once they've said that, we're going to present our programs. Great. Here's how we can work together to help you accomplish whatever they said in step 1. And whatever they said in step 2 to achieve whatever they want from step 1. Right? If you think you need more accountability and motivation, here's how we are going to provide it so you can have this outcome. Then we just go through what the program looks like and say, great, which of these programs would be best fit for you? There's nothing adversarial. This is, you know what? I've heard what you said. I believe I can help. You believe that you need to change. Here's how we can do this together. Are you interested? There's not a whole lot more to it than that. And guess what? If they're not interested and they're not ready, that's okay. That's why we fill the pipeline with leads. That's why we follow up. All that other stuff we did. You're not going to have any shortage of opportunities to have these conversations with people if you do the other stuff. All right. So this is the sales script. Man, I have certified people on sales training. I've done sales training for some of the biggest health club chains in the country, all this other stuff. And I'm giving you what I consider the heart and soul of it just on this slide. So if you haven't asked for slides, you're a crazy person. So what issue to fix next? That's it. Like, pick one of these things and work on it, because ultimately there are all these little components we talk about when you're trying to build your ideal business, but we start with the first 3. We figure out the first 3, get those locked in, and then we focus on doing the next right thing. So I'm going to stop the share there. Man, look at all this fun stuff. We have covered so much ground. All right. Are there any questions? I didn't really come up for air too much because I was just talking so much and kind of fast for me. So questions on any of that? Morgan, Jamie, do you guys have questions that you found from other people, or that you're going to pretend other people ask that you guys want to actually know the answers to, or what?
So you covered a lot. If you had to direct in one spot to start, is it the time management? Is it the sale? What is the one spot where someone just starting out who own your time?
Own your day, because if you control your time, then I mean you can connect with all the other stuff you can't do until you control your time. Or you always feel like you're doing it in a half-hearted way, or it's not at the standard that you want it to be. So you have to control your time. Plus, if you do what I do, and at the end of every day, you review and just jot down what tomorrow looks like. Now, I don't want it to seem, I mean, my planning for tomorrow takes like 3 minutes. It's not this hour-long planning session. It's 3 minutes. And if I plan tomorrow, then I'm at peace. I sleep well because I know I walk into tomorrow with a shot at success. All right. Was there a question from Julian? Is that what I saw?
Mm-hmm.
How often and how long should you follow up? I'm going to follow up with people until I retire. So that's my answer, right? I think that depends on the way that we think about follow-up. If we think about structured follow-up, like text messaging, like that early stage follow-up, I would say 3 to 6 weeks is probably fine. But then the leveraged follow-up, like an email list or a Facebook group, I would say as long as you're in business and they're willing to read the messages, I mean, it's like running an ad on TV or radio, or back when people read newspapers, putting in the newspaper. It's like, let's just keep it in front of people because we don't know when they're ready. And if we have already done the legwork to build that audience, then we're going to keep it in front of people because you just don't know. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Fitness Business School. Before you go, I have a quick announcement. One of the things that we've been doing with our current clients is taking them through this ideal business diagnostic. And really what it is this checklist that allows you to pinpoint exactly what your business needs next so you can keep improving, keep growing, and build a business that you love to own. One that pays you well, one that allows you to have the impact you want to have, and one that allows you to have a lifestyle that you truly enjoy. In this diagnostic, we walk through everything and we do an evaluation and can instantly pinpoint what you need to do next to build that business that you want. I'm going to extend this opportunity to get on with either me or my team and take you through this evaluation and fix your business's most vital needs fast. So if we take you through this, you're going to be able to make those vital changes that you need to finally have what I call your ideal business. If you'd be interested in going through this entirely free, risk-free diagnostic with us and learn what you already have in place, what you're doing well, and where your greatest opportunities for rapid improvement are, just shoot me an email with diagnostic in the subject line to pat@patrigsby.com. Again, an email to pat@patrigsby.com with diagnostic in the subject line will get you scheduled and take you through this evaluation to help you build the business you want.